one of Hollywood's greatest movie stars, is no longer with us. The title, "Hollywood Doesn't Throw Around Lightly," is no longer applicable to Elizabeth Taylor, the legendary actress with radiant beauty and extraordinary talent, who became an irreplaceable icon of Hollywood. Her captivating violet eyes, commanding screen presence, and stunning beauty won over millions of fans. But beneath the glittering glamour and accolades lay a life full of upheavals, including constant health issues, personal tragedies, and love upheavals. Bright lights of the stage, but also battled through broken marriages, serious health problems, and a storm of public scrutiny. Despite her radiant exterior and glorious career, she endured wounds that few could truly comprehend many years after her passing. Her deeply emotional story continues to astound the public as hidden aspects of her life gradually come to light. What secrets lie behind that glamorous facade? Let's take a journey through Elizabeth Taylor's struggles, where the brilliance on the silver screen was only the surface of a life marked by tragedy and extraordinary resiliency early. Music. Life. Elizabeth Taylor was born on February 27, 1932, in the Hampstead Garden suburb, a prestigious neighborhood in London, England. She grew up in a wealthy American family with strong ties to the arts. Her mother, Sarah Sue, was a former stage actress who gave up her acting career after marriage to focus on raising her family. When World War II broke out in 1939, the Taylor family moved to the United States, settling in Los Angeles, California, where they had close ties to Hollywood from an early age. Elizabeth's development as her mother instilled in her a desire to pursue the acting career she herself had left behind. Elizabeth had a peaceful childhood in an upper-class family, where she was raised with love and educated according to the strict standards of high society. But life in England did not last long. Elizabeth's mother, who had worked in the entertainment industry, recognized her extraordinary beauty and encouraged her to pursue acting. She was an ambitious mother who wanted to use her daughter to fulfill her own dreams. Elizabeth's striking violet eyes attracted the attention of many directors and film producers, and shortly after arriving in the U.S., the Taylor family seized opportunities in Hollywood. Elizabeth started by taking on small roles She signed a contract with Universal Pictures in 1941 and starred in her first lead role in the film Born Every Minute in 1942, when she was just 10 years old. However, her career at Universal did not last long, as the studio decided to terminate her contract after just 1 year. And Elizabeth's career truly took off when she signed with MGM Studios, which turned her into one of the most well-known child stars of the decade. In 1944, she was cast as Velvet Brown in the movie National Velvet, which is regarded as a significant turning point in her career. The movie was a huge hit, making her a star at the age of 12, but behind the scenes, her life was rather complicated. Being a child star denied Elizabeth the opportunity to live like a typical child. Her freedom was limited, and Fame MGM, where she was under contract, controlled almost every aspect of her personal life. The pressure of fame and public expectations also weighed heavily on Elizabeth from an early age. Film studios, particularly MGM, often required their child stars to use medication to stay awake during long shooting sessions and to help them sleep when necessary. This created the foundation for Elizabeth's health problems and substance abuse issues later in life. Follow a strict work schedule, leaving little time for her to enjoy her childhood. Elizabeth Taylor's successful career underwent a significant turning point in 1951 when she starred as Angela Vickers in the film A Place in the Sun. This role not only helped Taylor shed her image as a child star, but also demonstrated that she was an actress with deep psychological insight. The film received critical acclaim, and in the years that followed, she continued to demonstrate her versatility with a number of well-known films, including Giant 1956, Ree County 1957, and most notably, Sea on a Hot Tin Roof. The 1960s saw the height of Elizabeth Taylor's career with her role as Cleopatra, 63 film Cleopatra, which launched her to global stardom and made her the highest-paid actress in the world at the time, earning $1 million, an amount never seen in Hollywood history. 1958. This film earned Taylor her first Oscar nomination and placed her among the top actresses of the era. Her role as Maggie and Kat on a Hot Tin Roof clearly demonstrated Taylor's ability to portray deep emotional complexity as she embodied a character full of tragedy and longing. Cleopatra remains one of Taylor's most iconic works, despite the fact that the movie had many production issues and was a box office failure. She created a powerful, seductive, and witty Cleopatra who captivated audiences all over the world. Her role in Cleopatra was not only a career highlight, but it also marked the fateful meeting between Taylor and Richard Burton, one of her most well-known husbands. Their relationship garnered a lot of public attention, and they became Hollywood's most strong couple at the time. The two starred together in a number of movies, but most famously in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, 1966, which earned Elizabeth Taylor her second Academy Award for Best Actress. Taylor's performance as Martha in the movie demonstrated her strength and maturity as she portrayed a bitter, wounded, and conflicted woman. This role also marked a significant change in Taylor's acting style as she stopped depending on her beauty and instead concentrated on her ability to portray complex internal emotions in the years that followed. Although she no longer held the same level of fame as she did in the 1950s and 1960s, Elizabeth Taylor continued to take on a lot of film projects, but her career started to slow down. Despite this, she remained an indispensable figure on the silver screen. She was not only an actress with memorable roles, but also a strong woman who overcame both personal and professional obstacles at every stage of her career, which represented the transformation of a child star into a worldwide icon, from her iconic films to the prestigious awards she received. Over the course of her more than 60 years in the film business, Elizabeth Taylor transformed from a child star to a worldwide icon. She overcame every obstacle, continuously improved herself, and emerged as one of the greatest actresses of all time. Her career is a monument to her talent, tenacity, and perseverance, making her a legend who will always hold a special place in the public's hearts. In addition to being a legendary film icon, Elizabeth Taylor was also well known for her turbulent personal life. With 8 marriages to 7 different men, Taylor's personal life, from the highs and lows of love to the headline-grabbing scandals, kept her at the forefront of public attention for decades. Her first marriage, to Conrad Nicky Hilton, heir to the Hilton Hotel empire, began when she was 18 years old. Their 1950 wedding was a lavish affair arranged by MGM as part of the promotion for the movie Father of the Bride, in which Taylor starred, appeared to be a fairy tale, with Taylor's radiant beauty and acting talent matched by a man of upper-class status. However, the marriage swiftly turned into a nightmare, as Hilton was an alcoholic and frequently violent toward Taylor. She later acknowledged that even during their honeymoon, she sensed the breakdown of their relationship. And within months, love turned to misery. The marriage ended in divorce after just 9 months, which was Taylor's first painful lesson in a string of. Less than a year after her divorce from Nicky Hilton, Taylor entered into her second marriage to British actor Michael Wilding, who was 20 years her senior. Wilding's calm and gentle manner gave Taylor a sense of security following the violence of her first marriage. The couple had 2 sons together, Michael Jr. and Christopher, and their life was relatively peaceful for a few years. But as Taylor's fame continued to grow, the stark age difference between them became apparent. Though he loved his wife, Wilding's growing fame gradually overshadowed their relationship, which didn't have the dramatic conflicts of Taylor's previous marriages, and ended in divorce in 1957. This marked the end of a rare period of calm in Taylor's love life. Another major turning point in her life was her third marriage to film producer Mike Todd in 1957. Todd wasn't just a man who gave Taylor intense feelings of love. He was the greatest love of her life, according to her, and they had a daughter named Liza. Taylor was incredibly happy to be the wife of such a strong and passionate man, but that happiness was short-lived because in 1958, Todd died in a plane crash, leaving Taylor devastated and alone. Todd's death was a devastating blow, and it signaled the start of one of the biggest scandals in Taylor's life. Following Mike Todd's passing, Taylor started dating Eddie Pfizer, who was Todd's close friend and the husband of actress Debbie Reynolds. Affair with Fisher swiftly became a public scandal when Fisher left Reynolds for Taylor. The couple married in 1959, but their relationship was not happy, even though Fisher supported Taylor during her grief over Todd's passing. Their relationship lacked true harmony, and Taylor turned to fur, more out of loneliness and loss than out of genuine love, when Richard Burton entered her life. Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton's romance, which started during the filming of Cleopatra, became one of the most well-known and contentious love stories in Hollywood history in 1963. Their relationship was based on intense passion, marked not only by love, but also by constant arguments and conflict. They were married for the first time in 1964, and during their 10 years together, they starred in many notable films, including Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, which won Taylor her second Academy Award for Best Actress. However, Their life together was far from peaceful, due to the combination of their two strong personalities. That was both fiery and turbulent. They divorced in 1974 and then remarried a year later. But their second marriage was equally brief, as they divorced again just 9 months after splitting from Richard Burton. Taylor entered her sixth marriage with Senator John Warner in 1976, leaving Hollywood to become the wife of a politician living on Warner's farm in Virginia. But the quiet, remote life away from the spotlight in Hollywood left Taylor feeling alone and alienated, which caused her to suffer from depression after 6 years. Taylor's final marriage was to Larry Ferenzi, a construction worker she met at the Betty Ford Rehabilitation Center in 1988. It was a more modest relationship without the glamour and fiery passion of her previous romances, but he brought Taylor a sense of peace. Divorced in 1982, this was one of the most difficult times in Taylor's life, as she not only dealt with the breakdown of her marriage, but also battled health and emotional issues. Their wedding took place in 1991 at Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch, and despite the short-lived marriage, Taylor and Ferenzi remained friendly even after their 1996 divorce. Elizabeth Taylor had a number of turbulent and painful marriages, but she never gave up on finding true love. Each marriage, no matter how long or short, was a part of her life's colorful journey. Taylor's marriages and relationships were not just personal tales. They were a testament to the intricacies of love and life in the glamorous world of Elizabeth Taylor's. Health was a major part of her turbulent life, especially in her later years, when she was continuously tormented by pain and illness. Her wildly successful film career and complicated love life could not overshadow the physical and emotional pain she endured from a young age. Despite this, Taylor continued to assert herself as a strong woman in Hollywood despite having experienced numerous heartbreaks. While filming National Velvet as a teenager, Elizabeth Taylor fell hard onto the horse's back during a horseback riding scene, causing an injury that would haunt her for the rest of her life. The back pain from this accident was the start of a series of health issues that led to numerous surgeries, ranging from orthopedic procedures to more serious internal medical issues. She once acknowledged that she had suffered from chronic back pain for her entire life. In addition to her back issues, Taylor also fought a number of other illnesses. She had pneumonia several times, including one particularly severe episode in 1961 that required a tracheotomy to save her life. This incident shocked Taylor and her fans, because pictures of her with a long scar on her neck appeared in newspapers all over the world. It was one of the times when people realized that despite her tough and glamorous exterior, Taylor was still a vulnerable person. Taylor battled addiction throughout her life in addition to her health issues. Following the death of her third husband, Mike Todd, in a plane crash, Taylor fell into a spiral of grief and depression. To deal with the emotional pain, she started taking painkillers and tranquilizers. Over time, this became a part of her everyday life and eventually turned into a habit that she found difficult to break. Taylor once acknowledged that she relied on medication to continue working and to overcome due to the extreme strains of her personal and professional lives. This habit grew worse during her marriage to Richard Burton. Burton and Taylor were notorious for their wild lifestyles and heavy drinking, and during their time together, they not only got into heated arguments, but also became deeply ingrained in alcoholism. Taylor acknowledged that her addiction to alcohol and painkillers had numbed her body and mind, making it impossible for her to control herself. Peak in the 1980s, when her health started to deteriorate significantly. In 1983, Taylor made the courageous decision to confront her addiction by enrolling in the Betty Ford Center, becoming one of the first celebrities to publicly acknowledge their struggle with addiction and seek treatment. At a time when admitting to addiction was still heavily stigmatized by society, Taylor returned to her life and career after successfully completing treatment. But she soon relapsed and had to return to Betty Ford for a second round of treatment in 1988. In addition to battling an addiction, Elizabeth Taylor experienced chronic pain, multiple hospital stays for various health issues, and over 30 surgeries throughout her life, including hip replacements and treatments for heart and lung issues. In 2004, Taylor was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, a serious condition that prevented her heart from pumping blood effectively. As a result of this illness, her health gradually deteriorated, limiting her public appearances and confined her to a wheelchair. On March 23, 2011, Elizabeth Taylor died of heart failure at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles at the age of 79. She was surrounded by her loved ones and held in their arms. Taylor had been hospitalized 6 weeks prior to her death because of heart-related problems. And despite the best efforts of her doctors, her health was no longer strong enough to survive this final battle. Her death caused great sadness among her family, friends, and fans around the world. Elizabeth Taylor was portrayed as a glamorous, talented, and strong woman, became an irreplaceable part of Hollywood culture and global entertainment. Her passing signaled the end of a glorious era in the history of film and popular culture, but the legacy she left behind will last forever. Elizabeth Taylor's funeral took place at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, the final resting place of many other Hollywood stars. In true Taylor fashion, with her trademark humor and strength, she requested that the funeral start 15 minutes late as her final act of tardiness. Elizabeth Taylor had a deep love for jewelry, one of the most dazzling aspects of her life. She owned one of the largest and most valuable personal jewelry collections in the world, which included diamonds, pearls, rubies, and emeralds from all over the world. These jewels were not only symbols of wealth and status, but also represented love stories, romantic gifts, and emotionally charged moments in her life. The private event was only attended by family and close friends, but the love and admiration for her spread throughout the world. In 1969, Richard Burton bought the 69.42-carat pear-shaped diamond from Cartier for over $1 million, a record-breaking amount at the time. This gift represented the extreme love between Burton and Taylor, as well as the lavish lifestyle they led together. Originally set as a ring, Taylor found it too long to wear every day, so she had it resized into a necklace. She wore the Taylor-Burton diamond to numerous important events, making the stone a famous symbol that would always be associated with Taylor. In addition to the Taylor-Burton diamond, Richard Burton gifted Taylor the La Paragina necklace, a legendary piece of jewelry that dates back to the 16th century and was once owned by several Spanish queens. The pearl was found in Panama in 1513 and went through several royal hands before arriving at Elizabeth Taylor. Burton purchased it as a Valentine's Day present for Taylor in 1969, and she had it set into a Cartier and ruby necklace. The diamond tiara Elizabeth Taylor received from her third husband, Mike Todd, in 1957 was a lavish gift that he called a crown for my queen. Taylor wore the tiara on many important occasions, including the Cannes Film Festival, and it became a symbol of her charm and elegance. In addition, its connection to Taylor and its illustrious history created a special link between her and the royalty of the past. One must also mention men. Elizabeth Taylor also personally invested in rare gemstones and exquisite jewelry, owning numerous pieces from some of the world's most prestigious brands, particularly Cartier, Bulgari, and Van Leeuwen, and Arpels. One of her favorite sets was the Emerald and Diamond collection from Bulgari, which Richard Burton gave her during the filming of Cleopatra in Italy. For her, the tiara became a treasured keepsake after Todd Tra-I-Al died in a plane crash in 1958. Love for emeralds and possessed an exquisite collection of jewelry, including rings, necklaces, and earrings from Bulgari. In a light-hearted comment, Burton once made fun of the fact that Taylor only knew the Italian word for Bulgari, and it was accurate to say that Taylor had a strong affinity for the brand. Elizabeth Taylor did not only adore the sparkle of jewels, she also saw them as sentimental mementos. Her charm bracelet was one of the best examples of this. It contained tiny charms, each of which represented a significant turning point in her life. In addition to being a remarkable actress and a representation of Hollywood glitz, Elizabeth Taylor was also a woman with a compassionate heart who was committed to helping those less fortunate than herself. The names of her children, other mementos from the movies she starred in, and tokens from her loved ones. Taylor jewelry was not just inanimate objects. It was treasures filled with memories and emotions that helped her stay connected to her loved ones and the important moments of her life. Philanthropy and legacy. Taylor's journey into philanthropy began powerfully in the 1980s when the AIDS epidemic erupted and became a global crisis. At that time, AIDS was still widely misunderstood and heavily stigmatized, with many of those infected being shunned by society. This stigma and lack of awareness spurred Taylor to embark on her mission to fight against the disease after her close friend Rock Hudson died from AIDS in 1985. Taylor became one of the first celebrities to publicly discuss the disease and advocate for both financial support and social awareness. She also co-founded the American Foundation for AIDS Research, AMFAR, an organization whose main objective is to fund research and raise awareness about AIDS. Taylor's involvement with AMFAR garnered significant attention and helped the organization attract significant donations from philanthropists worldwide, but her efforts wane. In 1991, Taylor established the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, a nonprofit organization devoted to providing care, support, and education for individuals living with HIV/AIDS, ETF. became one of the greatest humanitarian legacies Taylor left behind. In addition to fundraising, she used her fame and influence to participate in public education campaigns about AIDS, dispelling the myths and stigma surrounding the disease. She regularly appeared on television, organized events, and urged the U.S. government to take stronger measures in addressing the epidemic. As the foundation's founder, she also actively participated in managing the organization and planning its fundraising events. She helped raise millions of dollars for AIDS research and supported AIDS patients worldwide, demonstrating that philanthropy was not only her duty, but her life's purpose. Elizabeth Taylor's commitment to the fight against AIDS earned her multiple awards and recognition from the international community, including the Jean Hero Humanitarian Award in 1992. Elizabeth Taylor's legacy extends beyond her famous films and her tumultuous marriages. It also includes her bravery, compassion, and unwavering determination in her philanthropic work, which transformed her personal pain and suffering. Of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences' most prestigious honors, acknowledging her immense contributions to charity. She was also praised by numerous organizations and nations worldwide for her tireless efforts to raise awareness and advocate for the rights of those living with HIV/AIDS. Challenges into a motivating force to help others, especially in the fight against AIDS. Her charitable career and unwavering efforts to raise awareness and support for those living with HIV/AIDS will always be an important part of the legacy she left behind. Elizabeth Taylor lived a life full of turbulence, but also incredible brilliance. She was not only a shining star on the silver screen, but also a symbol of strength and humanitarianism. Her death marked the end of an era, but her influence will live on in people's hearts. Thank you for watching, and please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any more fascinating stuff. Leave a comment and share your ideas, and I'll see you in the next video. Of those who loved her and in the generations to follow.